Maybe you're like me, where you have read the Brene Brown books, you understand that shame is not healthy, and maybe you actually even didn't realize that shame is having a huge impact on your life, and you had read all the books and you didn't understand that when shame did show up, how you could get rid of it. Okay, I love Brene Brown, love her. I love the concept of shame, but there was this crucial piece missing in what I've read in her books or been able to absorb. Maybe that piece that was missing was how to get out of the shame cycle, because as much as I would love for it to be as easy as I no longer feel shame, it's not. Here's something you need to know. Shame and trauma are very linked, and it doesn't have to be big T. We can talk about the little T, like being stuck in the corner for timeouts, right? Like, these are little T's that actually can have some really lasting impacts in our minds, okay? Or there's even just like the trauma of being told how a girl is supposed to behave, which is different than a little boy, right? So we have the shame cycle. How does it show up? What does it look like? I'm going to speak from my experience. So my trauma has left me very self-critical, as in I can see everything I do wrong. I analyze the shit out of myself. Now, this doesn't have to be a bad thing, but what happens next when I've decided that I'm deficient is I go down a roller coaster of not being good enough. Shame feels like inherently I am dirty or tainted, unlovable to my core. I don't just say, oh, that was a shitty thing I did as a mom. You know, I lashed out because of my own whatever's going on, and I'm mad at myself and I criticize myself. I go down this place of like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why can't you figure this out? Why haven't you dealt with your emotions yet? Why is trauma still showing up in your life? What is wrong with you? And I go into this cycle where I'm mad at myself and ashamed that I'm still a broken person. Here is how I am learning to release shame. And I have my therapist to thank for teaching me this. He has shown me that a lot of the things that I do that are out of alignment of who I want to be as a person are because of my trauma. And my trauma isn't my fault. Your trauma isn't your fault. It is not your fault those things happened to you or were done to you. So instead, when I have a behavior, when I act in a way that's out of alignment for who I want to be and how I want to show up, I say to myself, oh, look, Amy, there's your trauma showing. And I just call it that. And then instead of saying, oh, you're still dealing with that shit, Amy, when are you going to get over it? I ask myself, when was the first time I felt this feeling? Because what's happening in your modern life is triggering the shame cycle from the trauma cycle from when you were a child. And so if I can connect the memory in my head to the feeling that's stuck in my body from that trauma, I then have an opportunity to start healing and to not own the fact that my body is having a physical response to a trigger. That's not my fault. I didn't give myself that trauma. Now, I am responsible to heal. If I want to live the life that I want to live and be the mom I want to be and the spouse, the partner, the friend I want to be, I have to take responsibility to heal, but it's not my fault. So when that feeling like bursts out of my body and I'm being sent into trauma trigger mode, I can just stop and say, when did I feel this feeling? And figure out a way to process that emotion out of my body so that trigger can go away and skip the shame part.